So Liverpool's incredible unbeaten run is over. It looked like they were going to become just the second Premier League team to complete an invincible season, but Watford put an end to their run with a stunning 3-0 win. But that got us thinking about other unbeaten runs. So here is every top flight club's longest unbeaten run in the Premier League. 20th Brighton, 5 games. Someone has to be last, and sadly it's Brighton. With this just their third Premier League season, it's no surprise they're bottom of the pile. Their longest unbeaten run stretches 5 games, but it's something they've actually done twice, both in the 2017-18 season. It was their best season in the top flight so far, and their second run of 5 games was more impressive, as it included a fantastic 2-1 win over Arsenal. Watford, 6 games. Amazingly, this season saw Watford complete their longest run of games without losing, but unsurprisingly, it was the run that followed Nigel Pearson's arrival at Vicarage Road. The former Leicester man really turned things around for the Hornets, and this run started with a stunning 2-0 win over Manchester United. If Watford do survive, that result will have to go down as the catalyst. 18th Bournemouth, 7 games. The Cherries are another team with limited Premier League experience, with this their 5th season in the top division. Eddie Howe's men have often been inconsistent despite impressing, and their longest run of 7 games without a loss came in the 2017-18 campaign. The run began on Boxing Day with a dramatic 3-3 draw with West Ham thanks to a stoppage time equaliser, and included a historic 3-0 win at Stamford Bridge. But they would come crashing back down to earth in Game 8, losing 4-1 to Huddersfield. Quite the reality check. 17th Sheffield United, 8 games. While the Blades are currently having their best season ever, their longest unbeaten run in the Premier League actually came in the 90s. It was 93-94 and the Blades went 8 games unbeaten, but actually only won 2 games, although one was against Liverpool. In the end it didn't matter, as they still went down. 16th Crystal Palace, 8 games. When the Eagles endured a rough start of life under Frank de Boer, they needed a lift. De Boer got the boot and in came Roy Hodgson. He brought solidity back to Selhurst Park, and that's exactly what we saw in this 2017 8-game run. Palace picked up 5 draws in that run, consistently proving they can do things other than lose that season. 15th Norwich City, 8 games. Another one from 93-94, in the second ever season of Premier League football, Norwich enjoyed their best ever unbeaten run. The Canaries didn't taste defeat for 8 games, with Chris Sutton and Efe Okoko getting amongst the goals. In the same season Norwich had another lengthy run, narrowly short at 7 games. However, that was actually 7 straight draws, none of which were 0-0. 14th Burnley, 8 games. When I first started looking at Burnley's past for this video, I was certain it would have been from the year they came 7th, but no. In fact it was last season, when they actually had the very real threat of relegation come the turn of the year. Fortunately for Sean Dyche, an 8-game unbeaten run helped distance themselves from the drop. The run was largely down to Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes, who scored a combined 11 goals in the 8-game run, which saw Burnley pick up an impressive 5 wins. 13th Southampton, 9 games. The Saints have been back in the Premier League for a while now, but it's a run from their first spell in the top flight that was their best. Back in the 2002-2003 campaign, a James Beattie-inspired Southampton would go 9 games without defeat, winning 5 and drawing 4. The striker averaged a goal a game during this run, and unsurprisingly this was his best season of his career. 12th West Ham, 10 games. In 2016, Slaven Bilic and Dimitri Payet were West Ham heroes. The Hammers came 7th and won 62 points, their highest ever tally in the Premier League. And in that season, they enjoyed their best ever unbeaten run. 10 times they played without tasting defeat, with 5 wins and 5 draws. That run helped ensure they finished above Liverpool, securing a place in next season's Europa League, something they absolutely wasted. 11th Wolves, 11 games. This season, everyone expected Wolves to struggle because of the Europa League, but that hasn't happened at all. They're flying in Europe, and there's a chance they could qualify for next season's Champions League. And while they were tackling the Europa League group stage, they enjoyed their best ever run in the Premier League. Nuno's side went unbeaten in 11, which included a win away to Manchester City. There were a lot of draws for Wolves, but who cares considering a lot of their games were Sundays after a tough Europa League game. 10th Everton, 11 games. Despite many more seasons, Everton have an unbeaten run just as long as Wolves, spanning 11 games. The only difference is they've actually done it twice. The first was in the 2009-2010 season, back when David Moyes wasn't considered a draw-over manager. It was an excellent season for the Toffees, who actually only lost twice on a run of 24 games. But they would end the campaign with an 11-game run, and it was a run they would repeat, although that spanned over 2 seasons, the end of the 2011-12 season and the start of the 12-13 one. 9th Leicester City, 12 games. No prizes for guessing when this run came. Yes, when Leicester City won the Premier League title, they enjoyed their longest ever unbeaten run, stretching 12 games. It was the run that helped them seal the title, going unbeaten in their final 12 games to complete the fairy tale story and go down in Premier League history. Then, in typical fashion, they lost their first game of the next season and newly promoted Hull City to end the streak. 8th Aston Villa, 13 games. Martin O'Neill's Aston Villa side have to go down as one of the funnest to watch in Premier League history when you talk about teams outside the traditionally elite sides. And in the 2008-2009 season, they enjoyed the longest unbeaten Premier League run in the club's history. Amid UEFA and FA Cup games, Villa managed to go 13 league games without defeat, starting the run with a 2-0 win over Arsenal. Sadly, it was Chelsea who eventually stopped them in February 2009, which kicked off a run of 9 games without a win. 7th Newcastle, 14 games. In 2012, Newcastle narrowly missed out on finishing in the top 4, and a big reason behind their success was how they started the season. Alan Pardew's side were unbeaten in their first 12 games, including a win away to rival Sunderland. Add those games to the 2 from the end of the season before, and Newcastle enjoyed a 14-game run under Alan Pardew before Man City beat them on November 19th. 6th Tottenham, 14 games. Tottenham have also enjoyed a 14-game unbeaten run, but they've actually done it twice. And interestingly, both times it was under Maurizio Pochettino, the man who Spurs fans probably wish was still around. The first was in 2015, when a sensational start of the season saw them emerge as shock title contenders, but ultimately they fell short. They would repeat the trick in 2018, going on an even better run that saw them win 11 games and pick up 3 draws. Bookending the run at both ends was Manchester City, doing the double over Spurs en route to 100 points and the Premier League title. 5th Manchester United, 29 games. Considering the number of titles they've won, I'd have thought the Red Devils would have had a longer unbeaten run. But they sit on 29 games, a stretch of results that span 2 seasons. They wouldn't lose any of their final 20 games in 1999 to help them secure the treble, and at the start of the next season, they avoided defeat another 9 times. But when the run ended, it really ended. Chelsea were the team to do it, and they did it in emphatic fashion, beating Man United 5-0 at Stamford Bridge. 4th Manchester City, 30 games. In the 2017-18 season, Manchester City were very nearly perfect. Similar to Liverpool this season, the title was pretty much decided by Christmas. When they eventually lost on January 14th, they were already 15 points clear at the top. Out of their opening 22 games, City won 20 and drew twice, including winning 18 games in a row. The previous season they didn't lose any of their last 8 games either, meaning their run consisted of 30 games, one magical game ahead of rivals Manchester United. Noisy neighbours indeed. 3rd Chelsea, 40 games. If it wasn't for a Nicolas Anelka penalty, Chelsea would have gone unbeaten in 2004-2005. Jose Mourinho's side were relentless, proving why he was the special one. After they lost to City on October 16th, they would go unbeaten for the rest of the campaign, and they wouldn't lose another league game until November the following year, falling to 1-0 to Manchester United. In total, Chelsea went 40 Premier League games unbeaten, getting pretty close to the record not long after it had been set, but more on that in a moment. 2nd Liverpool, 44 games. The mighty Liverpool have fallen, but what a run it's been. Until Saturday's loss at Watford, the Reds had only dropped 2 points all season. They were a juggernaut and have been since January 2019 in fact. That was against Manchester City, a 2-1 win for Guardiola's men which won them the title. Liverpool have been amazing these past 2 seasons, and in between that loss at City and Saturday's disaster at Vicarage Road, Jurgen Klopp's men were unbeaten in 44 games, of which they won 39. An astonishing record which amazingly isn't the best in Premier League history. At number 1, Arsenal, 49 games. Only one team in Premier League history has an unbeaten run that spans over 3 seasons. In 2003, Arsenal ended the campaign with 2 wins, then the following season they didn't lose a single game to lift the Premier League title and go down in history as the Invincibles, a side that people still talk about today, mainly thanks to Troy Deeney and co. After that season, Arsenal added another 9 games to their tally, making it 49 games unbeaten in 2004 when they arrived at Old Trafford on October 24th. But sadly, that's where it all ended. But how long will their record stand? Liverpool have come short, and it could be a long time before we see anyone come close once again. So there we have it, that's every Premier League club's longest unbeaten run in the top flight of English football, only including the Premier League era. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.